In this episode, you'll see some of the best trail camera footage you've ever seen in your life, including leopards jumping from trees, sharpening their claws, sniffing the camera, marking their territory, hunting during the day and during the night, and even hunting underground. Just wait until you see what she pulls from that hole. Welcome to episode 5 of the Wildlife Estate Diaries, brought to you by Wildart Safari Accommodation. As many of you will know, Southern Africa experienced one of its worst droughts in a long time this year, and in the previous episode of the Wildlife Estate Diaries, the area was still extremely dry and barren. But then during the second week of November, we received 80 millimeters of rain over a 2-day period, completely transforming the Hoedspruit Wildlife Estate. Brown, dusty earth was replaced by green and lush vegetation, and for the first time in ages, there was fresh grass for the animals to feed on. The transformation after the rains was absolutely incredible to watch, and you can't believe how quickly it happened as well. Literally within 2 weeks, this estate turned from bone dry to lush and green. And I'm always amazed to see how quickly the animals respond as well. Hundreds of dung-beetles appeared seemingly out of nowhere, and only 4 days after it rained, the woodland kingfishers arrived, obviously in time for a massive insect explosion. Now, I was actually going to do a birding big day on the 7th of December, but unfortunately, our beautiful little Kobe pup passed away unexpectedly that day. And some of you might remember her from some of the trail camera footage. And I'd like to dedicate this episode to her. Now, what I'll try and do, if all goes well, is to do a birding big day somewhere now in the new year. For now, I'm sure you're all wondering what has happened in front of the trail cameras. So let's head over to Heron Dam, where Sharon's camera is monitoring the marking tree. As the drought got worse in late October, the flow of general game past Sharon's camera increased as thirsty animals made their way down to Heron Dam. Giraffe activity was especially high, and on the 1st of November, I actually captured 2 males necking in front of the camera. As always, Limpy the spotted hyena zoomed by regularly, and the resident genet came past a few times to mark its territory as well. Another small carnivore that visited the tree and that I had never captured on camera before was a slender mongoose. Leopard activity here was lower than usual, but on the 31st of October, Kulua came past to mark her territory. And then, 19 days later, she was back to sharpen her claws. Early in December, one of Dzaha's young boys also came past for the first time, but I'll tell you more about him and his brother later in this episode. The highlight for me was to see the veld transform and to see baby animals. And speaking of baby animals, these little piglets weren't the only ones born on the Hoedspruit Wildlife Estate in recent times. Just down the road at Paul and Sheena's camera, the warthogs and porcupines were happily sharing the mound throughout October. But on the 1st of November, this big mama pig with her bulging belly moved in. She was already heavily pregnant, and it didn't take long for her new piglets to make an appearance. As you can imagine, this new source of tasty snacks attracted the attention of the resident leopard population, and throughout October, November and early December, leopards were regularly coming by to try their luck, but without any success. Here at the Burrows, however, it was a completely different story. But before I show you the incredible leopard footage that I captured here recently, let me quickly tell you more about this month's featured lodge, Wildart Safari Accommodation. This luxurious self-catering lodge is located on the edge of the greenbelt in the Hoedspruit Wildlife Estate. It consists of 3 units that can either be booked separately or together for one large group. The largest is Wildart Safari Main, which can accommodate up to 6 guests in 3 rooms, each with an ensuite bathroom. It also has a large, fully equipped kitchen, inside and outside lounges, a swimming pool, and a lovely braai area overlooking the surrounding bushveld. The other 2 units, Lion's Den and Zesty Zebra, are slightly smaller and perfect for couples who want a private getaway. They each have a double bed and an ensuite bathroom, along with a small kitchen and lounge inside, and a plunge pool and braai area outside. All 3 units have a television, free Wi-Fi, and safe parking. Wildart Safari Accommodation has scored more than a 9 out of 10 on booking.com, and I can highly recommend it to anybody who wants to explore the Hoedspruit Wildlife Estate or the surrounding attractions. I've left a link to their website in the video description if you want to learn more or make a booking. Right, let's talk about the Burrows. As you may remember, I moved Karina's camera to monitor the 2 holes in the center and Peter's camera to monitor the hole at the back. And this was after Karen's camera in the front captured the amazing footage of Dzaha's 2 male cubs hunting at the burrows throughout September. By the way, their names are Vuuxika, which means to be blessed in the local Tsonga language, and iKwindla, which means the mountain in the Xhosa language. Apparently they were named by another resident on the estate. I was convinced that I'd immediately capture some extraordinary action at the Burrows now that I had 3 cameras up there. But as Murphy would have it, there was very little excitement throughout the rest of September and all of October. Dzaha, Kulua and iKwindla did come past briefly, but a quick sniff of the camera was about as exciting as it got. What I did learn was that the main hole monitored by Karina's camera was actually being shared by the warthogs and the porcupines. Don't ask me how they make it work, but somehow they do. And then there's Peter's camera, facing a hole that's home to a large family of warthogs. On the 22nd of November, the adult female slowly leaves the hole, followed by 2 of the youngsters, which then suddenly get a big fright. What caused them to run? A leopard. Here it is from another angle. It's hard to tell, but to me, it looks like Vuuxika. What I find most remarkable is that we now know that the leopards are actively staking out the Burrows. In the past, it seemed like they were coming past randomly, checking the holes, sometimes going inside, and then leaving if they find nothing. Whereas this time, it was different. The young male leopard climbed that tree and he was actively monitoring the holes. I think what happened at that specific moment, he was probably asleep or not concentrating, so when the warthogs left very silently, he was just a little bit late to react. From then on, the leopard activity picked up drastically. On the 24th of November, just before sunrise, iKwindla arrived and checked one of the holes in front of Karen's camera. From there, he tried his luck in front of Karina's camera, seemingly running into some porcupine trouble. Just after sunset on the 29th, Dzaha shows up. Unfortunately, because of the short delay, the camera doesn't pick up what happens next, but presumably she also had an altercation with one of the resident porcupines. On the 2nd of December, iKwindla came back to thoroughly check all the holes. And on the 5th of December, Dzaha walks past Peter's camera. 2 days later, a massive warthog mother with 4 tiny piglets arrived out of the blue and took over this burrow. Just look how cute they are. Then on the 9th of December, the old one-eyed leopard female Kulua comes past for the first time in a while. Could she smell the piglets, or had she perhaps been watching them over a distance? 2 days later, my questions were answered. At 9:56 in the morning, with the temperature soaring into the 40s, Mama Pig exits the hole and carefully checks the surroundings before slowly going for a stroll, perhaps to go and have a drink of water. Less than 2 minutes later, Kulua shows up, first making sure that the large and dangerous mother warthog has left completely. And then she decides to investigate the hole. What happens next is absolutely amazing, but it might be hard to watch for some of you, so if you're a sensitive viewer, please skip the next minute of the video. Wow, another leopard kill right in front of the camera. And I don't know whether you saw that, but Kulua really didn't like it when that piglet squealed, because obviously she didn't want its mother to return or for it to attract other predators like hyenas or another leopard. So she quickly turned it around and grabbed it by the throat, and that meant that it couldn't make any noise. Now I know it might be tough for some of you to watch, but it's actually a very important part of the food chain that played out in front of the camera. Because you can just imagine if there were no leopards around to limit the numbers of these piglets, we would have so many warthogs in the Hoedspruit Wildlife Estate that there wouldn't be enough grass for other grazers like zebra, wildebeest and waterbuck. And remember, old leopards like Kulua would have lost many of their teeth, or at least they'd be very blunt, so it'd be hard for them to hunt big animals like adult warthogs or impalas. So again, these little piglets will make out a very important part of their diet during the summer. Now before I show you some highlights from Dzaha's camera at Hoedspruit Dam, I quickly want to tell you more about Patreon. Patreon is an online platform where viewers like you can support content creators like myself. And for as little as $5 a month, you can make a significant difference to the Safari Expert YouTube channel. For those small monthly donations, you receive rewards like early access to the videos or mentions in the video like all these awesome people. A special shout out to my pangolin tier patron, Simon Wakenshaw. If you'd like to support the channel, go and check out the Patreon link at the top of the video description. Let's end the video with some highlights from Hoedspruit Dam.